This is the face of Dr. Farid Fata. He seems like a trustworthy guy, but in reality, he is Dr. Evil in real life. Once a very popular oncologist who operated Michigan's largest private cancer practice back in 2013, who boasted some 1,700 patients along with 7 clinics in different cities. He is facing 175 years behind bars for ruining the life of over 500 patients and perpetrating a large $34 million Medicare fraud scheme consisting of prescribing unnecessary treatment, chemotherapies, and expensive tests to these patients. Dr. Fata, that is 50 years old, pleaded guilty in September to healthcare fraud, money laundering, and conspiring to pay and receive kickbacks. This guy, it's a class act, Margaret. Not only did he diagnose patients with cancer that didn't have the disease in order to push really expensive, really aggressive treatments, he also had this sick scheme with a hospice center to get kickbacks for every patient that he was selling. He was farming death for profit, and he's facing life in prison. I'm glad. The details are really gruesome, though.
They're disgusting, and at the heart of this, it's greed and greed and greed. Giving chemotherapy to well patients in order to bill Medicare, I can't think of a worse scenario for someone to do. And just the pain that chemotherapy inflicts on people, it's unbearable. If you ever watch somebody go through chemotherapy, they lose teeth, they can possibly lose limbs, even their life. It destroys well cells as well as the damaged cells, and it's just remarkable that somebody like this was able to operate for as long as he did. But Jose, we don't need to indict the entire medical system. This is one bad egg, a very bad egg, but there's a reason people trust doctors. They take that Hippocratic oath. Most of them are good. They operate in a society, in a place where they want to legitimately help people, and there's a reason that we trust them. He is the exception, not the rule. Unfortunately, he puts a stain on everyone.
It's very upsetting to see that greed trumps the reason why doctors do what they do, that is save people. 553 people were unnecessarily diagnosed and prescribed treatments. 9,000 injections or chemotherapy sessions were ordered just to bill companies and insurance millions of dollars. Not only that, he also profited from those who were genuinely sick. Those patients that obviously had terminal cancers, he will make them believe that they will have a choice or a chance to survive if they follow these treatments. Where clinical trials said that there was nothing to do for those patients, still he billed them for that. The light in this story is how he got caught. And it's the story of a doctor that was part of the practice. His name is So Monglai, a Burmese doctor. And he tells the story that there was a lot of young doctors being hired in this practice, this clinic, the most renowned oncology clinic in Michigan. A lot of young doctors will come and go, because he was very secretive. The doctor, Sata, he was very famous for working all the day. He was up to 20 hours a day working. The reality is that he was covering his tracks. Everything came to life because one of these patients, Monica Stagg, she broke her leg the first day of her chemotherapy treatment, so she went to the ER. It so happened that this doctor, Monglai, was doing residency there, and he started looking at the charts, and he said, like, oh, this stuff does not check.
I mean, Jose, though, just to point out, these patients going in, second opinions, especially with terminal cancer, that would be critical. Do we know if in fact, these people attempted to receive a second opinion, they just took his word for it?
Many of them were referred to this doctor because he was a very prominent oncologist in the area. So I guess a lot of the patients, when they receive a diagnosis through a referred doctor, there's a level of, there's a degree of trust in that referral. The information that we have so far is that only 2 of these 500 plus patients actually went through and looked for a second opinion, even after learning the fact. But the reality, there was a very chance situation what actually uncovered this fraud. This doctor started looking into it, had a lot of follow through, and he started uncovering all of these proof that he was actually systematically diagnosing patients with cancer that they didn't have. And he had this loophole, biological loophole, where he was diagnosing a very rare type of blood cancer that when you took the first chemotherapy treatment, all the previous diagnosis will be rendered
He's found a way
to cover his own tracks through this chemotherapy treatment that cover any further diagnosis before that, because the blood will change chemically because of the
let's just hope that civil litigants are well prepared. I don't know if the government was able to step in and freeze his assets in time, but let's just hope that he sued and sued some more, because a lot of people are owed.
And I think that goes beyond actually the whatever compensation the families should get, that they should get something, but they're people that lost their family, their parents, their loved ones, people that is forever affected by this. Is really sad, but also highlights an issue that is very important, that is more and more so big pharma pushes with the doctors through their marketing for them to prescribe and use these treatments and offer drugs that people not necessarily. And this, I want to say, this is the extreme. This is the complete negative extreme of this tendency. But the numbers are in just last year, Big Pharma spent $6.5 billion in marketing expenses, paying doctors or medical education institutions in order to fund research or to skew their opinion into prescribing their own products. And that's something that is ingrained in the medical system in this country, and it has to be looked very, very closely. But at the same time, it's very, very sad to see the dark the dark side of the doctors, where profit is really more important than the life of many. Let us know how you feel, and please subscribe to the Lib TV 2.